to Momentum in Real Estate, your guide to success in the dynamic world of real estate. I'm Corey Wall.
And I'm Kristen James. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned pro, we're here to help you reach new heights.
Success in real estate comes from learning, growing, and serving others.
Join us as we dive into strategies for lead generation, marketing, market trends, and client relationships.
Get ready to ignite your momentum and achieve your goals in real estate.
Let's dive in and unlock your full potential.
This is Momentum in Real Estate.
Welcome to today's episode where we're joined by the distinguished Vania Rincon, a senior real estate agent with Keller Williams and the founder of the Vania Rincon real estate team. With over 18 years of dedicated service in Southern California, Vania has built a reputation for excellence in the real estate market. Her extensive experience isn't just about buying and selling, it's about making real estate dreams come true with a personal touch. Vania holds several prestigious certifications, enhancing her expertise in various real estate practices. She's an NACA certified realtor, probate certified realtor, green certified realtor, and a short sale certified realtor. Each of these designations represents Vania's commitment to providing her clients with knowledgeable and tailored advice, whether they are first-time homebuyers or seasoned investors. Join us as we delve into the strategies that make her a top-tier realtor in one of the most competitive markets in the country. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Christine and Corey. I'm super excited to be here with you. And wow, what a great introduction. Thank you so much.
Yay! Well, can you share with us, like in 5 minutes or less, your real estate story, like how you got here and just a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Well, actually, I was born and raised in Mexico City. I came to the United States to study and to perfection my English because I wanted to go back and study international business. But I came and I ended up having some opportunities. I went to college for business administration and I ended up staying. I studied in business administration, and so I was working in human resources for a company here in California is known. It was Quintaco. And from then I was hiring human resources in the fashion industry, which, by the way, I immediately got away from human resources and they sent me into sales and buying fabrics and import coordination because I didn't know. But I grew up in the fashion industry and my bosses from the fashion industry realized that I had a special knowledge about the industry. So I embarked that journey. Being an immigrant here, it's so great. I thought I was very lucky to have the positions and be in that industry. But after a while working in another company, I realized that I was going to have some limitations as far as how far I could go if I wanted to do investments or as fast. If I wanted to kind of speed up the process of investing and doing things, I needed to get my own business or something different. But really what opened my eyes is when I was working in the fashion industry as an import coordinator. I was working in the office of this CEO. Sometimes I was covering for him also, and I was learning a lot, or it was more reminders. He owns a lot of properties, buildings, land. The realtors will come sometimes to his office. I was listening and I was like, wait a minute, these guys have a big empire in the industry, but if they close tomorrow, they're okay with it because they have plenty of rentals to be living off. As a matter of fact, I think that was one of the biggest business that they have, even though the company, they were responsible because they also wanted to bring basically jobs to many hundred of people that they had on the company. And for me, it was like, okay, great. That's one thing. And I look at home, like my parents were still Mexico City. I came, but I had uncles and my family early on. They decided to buy property when they arrived to the United States. And they decided to buy in areas that probably a lot of people wouldn't take the risk, even Latinos, because there were areas like in South Central and back on the days, it was not good areas. But my uncle made the effort, and little by little, every saying if it's 5 years or 7 years, they were upgrading the house. So buying in there is then moving to a better area from a better area until the family end up living in the best area that they want. They all live in their areas that they want, and their homes now are $1 million properties. It was like, you know what? you have to think what you want to do. I want to invest. And I started my whole process in 22. I started thinking about it. 24, 25, life forced me to get out of the fashion industry. But I think it's important. I think I was manifesting it already. So I ended up becoming as an assistant to a realtor right away, like I'm 24. I studied into real estate. So I think I've been longer than 18 years. I think probably it's more like 20 now. And then right away on 2005, I bought my first condo into the industry. So that's how my story started. But I said something very important when I was writing. One thing that I wanted to know is I already knew that working in real estate was going to be hard. Working besides like CEOs and the companies on the fashion industry and with such a great company, also with Quintaco, and seeing the CEO of the company and saying some things, they would always say, you know what? When you create a business, you have more responsibilities. You really do. You are in charge and you're responsible for the well-being of hundreds of people. And their days were not easy. So a lot of people think people with money have it easy, but they don't know. Like a lot of people depend on that, right? Their daily days and decisions are affecting hundreds of people. So I was like, okay, so I was very afraid of what could happen, but I always thought of Jim Brown, which is my English teacher in business, and I really like him. He said, don't wish it was easier, wish we were better. Don't wish for less responsibilities, wish for more knowledge, don't wish for less challenges, wish for more wisdom. And saying so, I
Mm.
said, here we go. And I started working a lot and as an assistant, but it was all good. It's been great and challenging. And yeah, but sharing that also, I wanted to help the world. I wanted to have Latinos buying and minorities buying properties, but then I ended up helping everybody. And by the way, I'm a senior certified agent too, which I think right now is very important for me because more than anything, seniors really need our help. And
Mm.
also to know the laws, how they can use them, the taxation, all these other stuff. They need somebody to be very patient because it's a very important market in this time too. Yeah, that's it.
That's awesome, Vania. I'm curious about your brokerage experience. Did you initially hang your license with Keller Williams and have been there all along, or what's been your history with brokerages?
That's a great question. Actually, I was very blessed. Oh my God. And whatever he is, well, he passed away. I was with Coldwell Banker when I started, and oh my God, I never expected to be, but he was amazing. I guess I really miss him, obviously.
Mm.
And Luis Alcala is one of the leaders, and Richard Estrada, which is still around in the business. There was Coldwell Banker, and I think they were and the dynamic duo as brokerage. But what I loved is that Luis Alcala was tremendously committed for us to knowing contracts. And he will make it fun. He will make it a Bible. I feel like I was studying to be a lawyer, not to a real estate. I
Mm.
went for a realtor, but Luis Alcala made us think as lawyers because he was like the contracts, everything in writing, and I'm so blessed and thankful when I started with Coldwell Banker. It was the all good days. We still used to travel together as a company. Like if you win and you were having good performance, we usually used to travel. So I started with Coldwell Banker, still a big company. Keller Williams was not as big. I don't even think they were around that time. So I'm also very
Mm.
proud of Keller Williams because in such a short time, Keller Williams has become one of the top companies. And right now we're the office that I'm at is the top agency in sales here in Los Angeles, basically. But yeah, I started with Coldwell Banker, and that was good. Then I switched. I have four companies within my years. I'm gonna speak about the good ones. I don't like to speak like not all of them are having good, but some of them I prefer. Of course, I came back to Keller Williams. I had left Keller Williams and I came back to Keller Williams. But I guess as far as brokerage, what I can say is I care about flexibility, believing in bigger goals. And some of the companies, they still in the only one person. And I think teams nowadays are important. The demands of real estate and the competition is too high. So whenever you want to start giving very good customer service, you can always do it on your own. But when you start growing a little bit, or if you want to have a regular life as a realtor and you need to be out on vacation, if you have a team and people feel comfortable that you're not going to be here, but somebody's going to be still supporting them and answer questions all the time, I think creates value. And now we have a lot of competition in real estate. Everybody is a realtor. So you definitely need to stand out for the good reasons. Also, you cannot overpromise. You cannot be agreeable all the time because in the future you can harm the client. Also, sometimes if you say yes to a client all the time, I always tell the clients, are you hiring somebody for professional advice or to be agreeable with you? And that's kind of right now what I'm looking at too, because some clients leave, everybody's so nice, they get in trouble, they come back, but coming back again to the brokerage, I started with Coldwell Banker. It was great. I have worked for Remax. I worked with Intero, which Intero also was a big, refreshing company to work with. And Intero Real Estate is that it was on the South Bay. They came and they had offices in California. And it was a great experience where it lasted. Their whole motto, if you always concentrate in giving value, you never have to worry about making money because the money will come automatically. That was amazing. Also, I like Keller Williams currently where I'm at with Josh Vincent, which he's an amazing recruiter, but a businessman. What I like is that they always say environment matters. You have to collaborate. You learn from everyone. If you have something, they can put you in contact with somebody. We are 800 agents around there in the office of Beverly Hills. So it's crazy, but you can still get online. I end up switching companies from Intero, which I love, but because Intero was more traditional, and Keller Williams has more openings for teams. They're such a big company, I haven't seen more. So they always are open to bring something to the table, investigate apps, technology. And nowadays that things are changing so often, I think it's important to work with for a brokerage that actually offers the changes or has the resources to be on top of the trends and the changes that we're experiencing with the market.
That's beautiful. I love that. So you spoke a little bit to this, like what sets your specific approach to creating a positive and professional experience for both sellers and buyers apart from others in the industry, since you have so many realtors in your market?
That's a great question. For me, this is going to sound a little bit old fashioned, but I think old fashioned now is more needed than ever. So you can be in contact and in touch with all these new changes, but I guess consistency for me is key.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. And what I mean by that, I've been in the business for a while. So I think for me, it's important to bring the client. I'm not going nowhere. I've been here. I'm going to be here. Customer experience in our website, you can come and you have access to my calendar all the time. So you can always create an appointment with me. Reliability. Like I'm reliable. It's true. We cannot answer the phone all the time at the time that you want because I will be lying, but I tell you within 24 hours, if you send us an email, you'll get response. I want the client to know that I'll be there. Sometimes it's kind of hard. I think because being old fashioned and I'm already in the 44s and I try not to oversell our services because we're not perfect. And the more that you're in the business, the challenges are come across. So sometimes it's hard because you compete with people that are saying yes and they're very like, yeah, we can do this and you're going to do this. And at the beginning and you sign the contract and then later on it's challenging for the client, right? So sometimes it's being sad that we lose the customers, but at the same time, sometimes when you have a good conversation, sometimes they come back. When they come back, I know that those are clients that I'm gonna stay in contact for the long run, and they know that I'm gonna be here for the long run, and that's something that for me is huge. I also have some process right now, so sometimes it's hit and lose. Sometimes clients will like the structure, sometimes they won't. But again, how can I try to do easier for the clients? First is open communication. I always tell you, look, I'm gonna give you all the choices and the best information so you can make the right decision for yourself. So you have the choice. We're here to provide you information to give you the best tools. Second of all, I'm gonna be noisy. And I always tell the clients to get ready noisy because I wanna support them. Um, and I make them that feel get involved a little bit. And at the beginning, it seems like making it easy for them is giving them information, getting involved. The transactions when you buy a home, being very real, it could be very fun when I say, let's go shopping, so we can go shopping, right? But I always let you know when you go shopping, it's the biggest purchase of your life. Or if it's an investment, it's a little different. But if you're a first time home buyer or even a second buyer and you're selling your home and upgrading, it comes with some challenges because it's a huge purchase and it's emotional. So I always tell them, look, the more that you trust us and the more that you trust your agent, it's going to be easier. Because, yeah, it's not going to be such a thing that I'm going to tell you everything is going to be easy. But if you trust us, we're going to be, okay, this is the timeline. We get the contracts. We're going to protect you. Try to work on the things that you do. And you know what? Nothing is going to happen. The worst that can happen, legally, you're going to be supported if you have a good realtor. The worst that can happen is the house is not whatever you want. You cancel. Not a big deal. Like we'll find the house that you like. So the thing that for me is the most important is like I'll let you know. Yes, it's gonna be the process. What is really gonna be make you involved, and at the end of the day, if you cancel, you cancel. You have the freedom to cancel. You have the freedom to tell me, honey, I don't like this. So I like to feel them. You feel comfortable to tell me anything, even if you think I'm not gonna like it. Even better, because then it truly gives you an opportunity to help you and to find. If you don't tell me, I won't be able to address those things, and that's for me huge with the clients. And of course, the details, as I was said, it's always the details. Once you're a professional, it's not so much about the paperwork, it's about the experience of the client, why they really want those things. Somehow you handle them. If everybody is in the same page and the buyer really wants the house and the seller what really wants to sell, we can always meet in the middle. Like what we want, of course, by default, I guess as a realtor, we have the fiduciary duty to look for their best interest, and that I keep it on my heart.
Hmm. For
So
sure. I know that communication is really important to you, specifically listening, and really listening to your clients and customers and people that you work with. Can you unpack for us like a bit of those skills in listening and what has made you a really skilled listener?
yes, thank you. There's a few things that comes to mind. For all those realtors or new people, I would say absolutely. If you can enroll in classes that are about sales or especially about emotional intelligence, I would suggest that you get all in. There was a
Hmm.
technique that I learned that is called listening to the listening, which I'm not gonna, of course, listening is usually very basic. I'll say everybody's repeat and approve. Actually, I've been doing it right now when I get off topic. I remind myself and I come back to you and say, hey, well, going back to the corporate experience or the brokerage experience, this is the conclusion because I go out of topic. Those things you have to keep and remind and repeat to yourself, but most importantly, repeat to the clients. So everything that does McDonald's or like fast food restaurants that at the end they repeat your order and you confirm, as a realtor, I take it to my heart. So you're telling me that you want a three homes, two bedrooms, and a garage is a must for you. Yes. Oh, but if I don't have it, it's okay. Okay. So you said if you don't have it, it's also okay. Perfect. Tell me more about it. Why is this so important? So repeating and proving allows you to, for me, even to my head to confirm, but it's also what they don't say. Because if I have a husband and wife, maybe one is say yes, but the other one is like making faces and stuff.
Hmm.
All that is you have to listen to the listening or to their body language. And listening to the listening is also I observe the way they listen to me, how they're listening to me. If they're listening, if they're impatient, they're cutting up on that. I also cut up that they're speaking faster. They want to first hear the answers cut through so they can relax and hear the rest of the stuff. So you have to understand if they slow talkers, I'm gonna calm down. If they're talking fast and they want to hear the answer, until they hear the answer, they're gonna hear the rest. And sometimes it's important to tell them the story or why it's not a good choice. Maybe, yes, you can do it. But if you tell them, well, wait a minute, let me tell you why, then you tell them the answer, and that type of client is fast paced, yeah, we're losing them. So it's
Hmm.
important to listen to the cues, how they're speaking, if they're speaking fast, they're speaking slow, they speak strong. And at that moment, it's not that you're being fake, it's you're really adapting to what the client needs from you to be able to deliver the message in the way that they they needed to be delivered,
I've
right?
heard even like matching each other's body language too can be
Mm.
very, very
That's
helpful too.
matching and mirror. That's another
Yeah.
sales technique. And matching and mirror, it's important because that happens to me. Sometimes I can get praise, and sometimes I'm very bubbly, and you've had sugar, a lot of coffee, and you arrive, and then the client just by looking at me, they get tired, right? Wait a minute, this girl is not gonna understand me, or whatever it is. So it's important to check those things. But mirror and matching, again, if they're even in a position, if they're closed down, then you really get to see close down, they're not, or sometimes you match it. So they feel, oh,
Mhm.
then change them little by little. If they start using your body language, you know that you got them. But this is too technical. So at the same time, I like that, but I think if you get too technical into that, it could be more for hard closings. That's not my style. If you want to do hard closings and all that stuff, you can do crazy things with some sales techniques. But for me, the most important thing is like really knowing what the client wants and really coming from what they want instead of really doing. But it's helpful. I guess for me, the main thing will be matching them where they at, and also being very present and honest. I think in a presentation, that's the most important thing. You're here 100% at that time for them, and that shows.
Mm.
Can you name like a really good example of a time that you may have like used a nonverbal cue to direct and help your
Mhm.
clients or any type of technique? Can you use like a really good example? And sorry to put you on the spot, but just was wondering if you could give us like a little bit of a story.
Absolutely. So far, have you like what I have answered to you? Okay. So you guys just did it. You just agree with me with my head.
Perfect.
So that's something that I would use. Simple is like that's one type of example. You will see that that person is following up. So you guys are doing it again. So it's easy. So another thing that
Mhm.
you can use is a cue when you're in the home. It's like, okay, are we ready for this? And then please, can you get the pen, or if you give them the pen, let's do the right thing, sign the contract, or I start signing, and then I just give you the pen. Once I sign, they give you the pen. When you do a good job, okay, don't ever try to do that at the beginning. And again, right now you guys are easier, more agreeable because we already had a conversation. You're easy. If you do this with somebody who just started, it won't
Mhm.
work.
Mhm.
So that's one. Another example could be as far as body language is, if I do this for a while or stuff, you will notice clients will start following it. That's when you already have some rapport with them. You can tell. And also that's important for big crowds, right? When you're having families, usually I try to do one post for a long time to see who is kind of along or who is completely not present. If you do it at
Mhm.
the beginning, you can tell that people are thinking something somewhere else because they're
Hmm.
not present. So you can also address, hey, I understand that you might be very busy, but this is very important information. And invite you like just to listen, or you ask questions so in a very polite way, so to make sure that everybody is on the same page. Yeah,
Yes.
I hope this helps. Did I
Yeah,
answer?
that helped. I was also thinking about last night, I was actually doing a showing and the wife was really closed off, like crossed her hands. So this is one of two examples. So crossed her arms and kind of, a little down. So I was just like, hey, can you just take me through the house and tell me things you love and trying to bring her, uplift her a little bit and just get her information. And then I had the male on the other hand was like, very gruff and sturdy, like very overpowering, And so, not that I was like trying to take that away, but trying to also be strong and also have that empowering feeling of like, oh, I'm matching his energy too. So it's just interesting how we always have to, especially when you're dealing with couples, like have to balance the two different personalities too.
Yeah, and Corey, in those cases, maybe if you allow me, in those cases, there's a few things that I can. When you're having a number powerful, like somebody who's very strong in character, usually I command kind of try to take the lead. So I will just say, hey, I understand. Great. I noticed the stuff. Okay, let me show you immediately some of the bags, things in the house. Do you know this about the property? Do you have any questions? I'll be very like that. But when I feel somebody is like nervous and stuff, that's a great thing because also if you want to open and break them, it's like, hey, I notice you're a little tense, or hey, am I
Mm-hmm.
feeling right? Or is anything, is there anything that worries you that you need answers for?
Hmm.
Uh, and then they will like, oh, no, no, no. Or is everything okay? Do you need anything, water? Or you offer them something. Usually it creates a break pattern because sometimes
Mm.
we don't understand where they're coming from or they had a bad day. And especially with couples, we know that sometimes they are having like different perspectives of what they want. So when they come in, it's kind of it's like everything okay, you want some water or anything that you really need to tell me. I tell them, oh, is this a house? I maybe I was thinking that you were gonna be a little bit more excited, and then sometimes it open up, right? But I hope not all the time. Again, nothing is perfect because, but at least you try to do the techniques that we're taught, but sometimes it helps. And sometimes again, there's no right answer because I have had people that they're no. And also this is no. It's like, okay, good.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
It's really
Yep.
great.
That's
That
awesome. Vania, I want to dial back a little bit to your journey into real estate. You mentioned having spent some time in the fashion industry. And I think so many of us and so many realtors today come into the industry from another industry. They, some other work experience, professional experience, or otherwise. And I wonder if you can speak to what did you feel like you brought with you? What did you learn in the fashion industry that you are now utilizing in your real estate career? And what sort of advice or counsel would you give to an aspiring real estate professional that might be looking to achieve success in real estate? I know it's kind of a couple threads there, but if you could speak to that, that'd be great.
Yeah, thank you, Kristen. Well, I'll start with the things that I brought from the fashion industry. So in this case, because I'm fashion, I did an import coordinator. I was a buyer's employee, and I also was a seller of fabrics, especially knits. That was my specialty. What I realized, there's a few things. Import coordinator allowed me to really understand how important to take the attitude. If it's up to me, it's up to me. And if you're a realtor, anything that happens where it's gonna be, it's up to me, it's up to me. Sometimes also people say it could be a controlling situation, but in reality, we're coordinators. We're like project management. And besides sales, you can be the best salesperson, which is a lot of people say just be the salesperson and you're gonna be great. Yes. But if you want to be for a long term in the business and you want to really support your clients, you're going to have to be a project management or a team or coordinator of the whole process, right? Because you don't
Mm.
only want to get listings and open deals, you want to close them. That's where we make our money, right? And then I'm not sure, but I'm for sure you get experiences like sometimes the lenders buyers come with the lenders and you have title reps and you have insurance people, you have termites. So people don't understand that behind the scenes, usually we're dealing like with 20 people. Sometimes you don't deal with so many like talking every day, but if you happen to have a challenging file, which can happen all the time, you're gonna need to know who you're talking for each question. And you need to know these things ahead of time. As far as what I brought on the from the fashion industry, the coordinating, bringing clothing from other parts of the country, it was a whole effort from putting first like a tech pack together to really ordering the fabrics and everything. It gets done with certain timing. And if you don't get it on time, you cannot sell in the store, so you can lose the money of the company, whatever it is. It's the same thing
Mhm.
here. Especially when you're hiring somebody to sell your home, you don't need the marketing. You need somebody who's going to protect you on the timelines and even for a
Mm.
buyer. So I think that itself, I always took very seriously the timing, the coordinating, knowing the information ahead of time so we can avoid many surprises and we can close the transaction on time or prepare for that or make solutions, right? So that's what I brought. I was from the fashion
Mm.
industry. I brought some negotiation skills because you need it. Even when you're open at escrow, people think the negotiations is until you will open an escrow, not during escrow. You still have to know how to negotiate. And that's also something from looking at my bosses on the fashion industry or stuff. Even making fabric is complicated. You depend on the cotton price, and the cotton price can vary every day, and it's the market price. And fabrics is the same thing. Believe it or not, is I wrote this, and is you're always negotiating for the deal for the right timing. Maybe a no right now will be yes. In my team, we're known that we get a lot of backup offers accepted because we're continuously follow up. If the deal falls off, hey, just reminding you that we're still here, blah, blah, blah. And we get the backup, agents remember us. So those things help me. Well, the negotiations, the sales, and the second question, he was like, what do you say to aspiring agents? Yeah, sales is going to be important. Sales is being authentic, being there, doing your numbers every day. Right now, I don't do as much cold calling at the beginning, but when I started, I used to cold call all the time. Sometimes I did door knocking, but I used to look very young at that time. So a lot of people in person were like, more like, and this little girl, like it was not so good for me in person. It was great over the phone, even though I had a super thick, I still have my accent. Just figure out at that time, had a thick
Mm.
accent, and it works. So guys, it, it works. Even for somebody who had a thick accent, I still was able to manage it sometimes, right? And don't skip the basics. What I'm afraid for new aspiring agents, we are in the times of TikToks and the times of everything seems so cool and all these leads are gonna get. But you know what? Yeah, sometimes you get overwhelmed with so many leads if you get a good campaign, but how many of those are really good leads? Before, when we used to do target cold calling, it was like target clients that potentially become clients. So now we don't even have that. I know it's challenging times for everybody, but I said, don't think internet is everything. If you're gonna enter real estate, be prepared to really know your basics. It's like
Mm.
we want to skip a lot of points thinking that we're gonna be with schemes being rich fast and stuff. But you need to know your stuff. You need to
Mm.
your basics, and you want to be open and understand and listen to what's going on new. And it works now. Sometimes I get marketing from Facebook and we contact the clients. The conversion is still low, and it has always been in real estate, even cold calling or whatever. So it takes patience. Before everything, 10 calls, people were answering more often. Now sometimes you get 17 calls, 20 calls to get into something. Now people is getting 14 touches. Before, when I started on the market, 45 touches, people would respond to you. Now people, it's getting bombarded. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, for new people, it's gonna take you 2 years of really hard work,
Mhm.
really hard work,
That's
if you
right.
want to stay in the business for the long time. And you might not close as many transactions, but all of a sudden you might get bored. That was me. I was lucky. The first month I got a transaction, it was from one of my ex-bosses. So I was very lucky. For a while I didn't close, and all of a sudden I will open five, and I was like pulling my hair. This is like that. You don't know where it's gonna come. You just have to be consistent. I think consistency, I cannot stress it enough. You show up every day, no matter what. Don't skip your basics. The basics will always you build on top, but like I started with My Fairy when like still My Fairy's around with the scripts, right? And the scripts of My Fairy have been changed, accommodated, but he's still the king of the scripts. Like those scripts are still using by Keller Williams, but everybody just his sons. You can build a top, but you know your basics for my like for that. The contracts. Don't skip the contracts class. If you're gonna do something, don't skip that contract class. You should know your contracts because that's how you protect compliance. Don't depend on the TC to know your contracts. Yeah, they can help you, but you're still the one that is gonna lead them. If you don't know stuff, you cannot manage everybody else. So invest the time. Every time that you invest time in knowledge in the real estate, it will pay off because it will give you the confidence. So when you're in your listing appointments or your buyer's appointments, it's okay also to not work with everybody. At the beginning, I wanted to please everyone. I still want to please everyone, but sometimes if client or personality is not for the clients, maybe we're gonna make them suffer and we're gonna suffer along the way.
Mm.
And also it's been selfish before, like, okay, no, I have to convince them I'm gonna, but no, because sometimes some clients we're just not taught for them and we make them feel uncomfortable. So that's okay too, because then you're gonna find the one that you guys are working better and it's gonna click and you're gonna close them. It's gonna be amazing. But also let them know, always leave the door open. I'm always here for you if something ends up resonating with you.
That's
Leave the
right.
door. So it's a process, and you also have to learn their process. Because as I said, many people would tell you, but maybe I'm gonna be better on the phones, like in person. And I'm a great person because now I don't have the whole thing. But you're gonna evolve to different stages, and that's okay. But don't stop prospecting. Believe if clients, especially when you're new, if clients are not good or they're liars, it's gonna happen. Don't
Mm.
get discouraged. It's a numbers game. No matter what, it's gonna be a numbers game. But be prepared to put your best effort for a while. And I always said, if I was working so hard for somebody else, for me, I'm my worst boss. And you're gonna have to be your worst boss if you want to make. It's like you have to be showing up early, you have to be the one that leads class, and you have to lead by example. And clients are looking for leaders. You remember in a transaction, you're leading the transaction in a good way. And leader is not bossing around, but leading, like inviting them and showing them. So I guess that's what I can say, guys.
That's so good. Yeah, it's so true. You've got to stick with the basics. Like even years in, it's still super important in the contracts and all of that. Well, we're wrapping up here. Vania, thank you so much for being here. Really, really appreciate you and everything you brought to the table. It was so
Mhm.
great. We will put in the description how to find you and follow your journey. And just thank you.
No, likewise, Corey and Kristen, and I really want to acknowledge you guys too because this is a great opportunity, like a great platform
Mm.
talking about what we go in real estate, and you guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you for this again for your time, and have a wonderful day. I can ever help with anything, or just please let me know.
Thank you, Vanya. And likewise, we want to help you too. So I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Momentum in Real Estate. We hope you found valuable insights and strategies to propel your real estate journey forward.
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to deliver content that resonates with you. Remember, success in real estate is about continuous learning, growth, and serving others. Keep that momentum going and watch your business thrive.
Until next time, keep pushing forward and bringing your real estate dreams to life.
This is Corey Wall
And Kristen James signing off from Momentum in Real Estate.